You're listening to The Van Daniel Show, the show that brings you a sometimes explicit, most controversial opinion of a guy you've never heard of about anything and everything. Here's your host, Van Daniel.
Those that have listened before, welcome back. If you're new to the show, thanks for listening. Today's show is my pre-Superbowl special. I'm going to do something absolutely crazy and bring in two guests at the same time. This should get pretty interesting. We're going to talk about all things Super Bowl, no script, just raw talk and true emotion. Then later, I'm going to give you my Super Bowl prediction and finish it off with my rant of the week. Coming up next. Thanks for joining us this week. If you like what you hear, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. And follow me on Facebook and Twitter at RealVanDaniel. Or visit the website at www.thevandanielshow.com, all of which is linked below. Also, if you have a suggestion or a topic you want to hear on my show, let me know. If I pick one of your ideas, I'll even give you credit on my show. Lastly, if you're a small business owner and you want some free advertisement, hit me up on one of those channels I talked about earlier. I'll pick one business every week to promote free on my plug of the week. All right, welcome to the show. I'm excited about this topic today. So much I brought two guests on to talk about it. I got Jason, who is actually a Raiders fan rooting for Kansas City. I'm sorry. He is rooting for the 49ers in spite of Kansas City. And I have Jack. I'm sorry, Jason. I have Jack, who's a true Kansas City fan. How you guys doing today?
What's up, man? Said that I was rooting for the Chiefs.
Yeah. My bad. I did messed up that intro. It's no good. It's all good though. So
almost got sick there.
So I wanted to go ahead and say, first of all, I wanted to thank you guys for coming on the show. I didn't thank the last guest, and I want to make sure I got that out there. And just put it out. Thank you very much for coming on, and let's get started. What do you say?
Anytime.
All right. Thanks for the opportunity.
All right. So, Richard Sherman came out this week, and when he was asked if his experience being his third Super Bowl would matter in preparation for this game, and his response was that Super Bowl experience doesn't matter. So I guess what my question to you guys, posed to you guys, is do you think that Super Bowl experience matters? Jason, what do you think?
I say yes and no. Yes, in the fact that the preparation up to and during the game, because you have the really long halftime show that everybody wants to watch. But no, in the fact that if you look just at the person who made this statement, I mean, he's been in three. His first one, he won against a guy that was his third Super Bowl. And then if we look at the guy who's retiring from the New York Giants, the first one he goes to, he beats Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
18 and Eli.
It's all a matter of more preparation and how you actually get ready for the spectacle of the Super Bowl and not actually playing the Super Bowl.
Okay, gotcha. All right, Jack, what do you think?
I think it absolutely matters. I mean, I can't imagine going into your, first Super Bowl. I was watching some videos the other night of old Super Bowls, and the crowd and the lights flashing. They might not be nervous now, but when it's kickoff time, there's got to be some weak knees in the house. I think that matters. I mean, I think Richard Sherman, he's a great cornerback. He's been there 3 times. It's not, there's no, the spectacle, it's okay, whatever, I'm sure it means something, somewhat, but overall, I think that's definitely a benefit,
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Jason.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So, I mean, unfortunately, I tend to agree with you guys on this. I think it does matter because, like we talked about, I think it's more of a mental game. I think you have to be prepared mentally, and if you're not, that hour-long halftime show is out of your routine. I think routines matter. When you come to the Super Bowl, you're not in your 60. You've been in the routine for 17, 18, 19 weeks. You can't get into that routine anymore because you have all these interviews you have to go to, all these events leading up to the spectacle, like you guys said, of the Super Bowl. And then you're going to play a half, You're going to go sit down for an hour. And essentially, everybody that's ever said it or went to the Super Bowl that I've heard says that the second half is basically a whole nother game because you're just cold. So you're starting a whole nother game. So I think mentally is big, but some of it on the second half has to do with physical. And if you look back at all the Super Bowls, most of them are low scoring Super Bowls. And I think that has something to do with it, of that long layoff when you're talking about before the game. And then also then again at halftime. So
I completely agree with you.
Yes, 100%.
And if that's the case, unfortunately, Jack, being a Kansas City fan, it doesn't bode well for you because there's only two players on your team that's been to the Super Bowl. They both have rings, which is Wisnowski and Suggs. And the 49ers have Sherman, Sanders, Jimmy Garoppolo, even though he's a backup, Trevon Coleman, Ben Garland, their center, Robbie Gould, their kicker, Joe Staley, their left tackle, Levine Trujillo, their tight end. They've all been to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, that. What's that?
Yes, and you're right. But you take a look at the last two seasons, so Mahomes' first, season was pretty much last season as a starting quarterback. I know he got a couple of starts in towards the end of the season before that, but, as a full-time starter last season, they go all the way to the AFC Championship. You could tell they were nervous, but they settled down after the second quarter comes around, and the same thing with the playoffs this year. A little nervous, a little shaky, but as we've seen against Houston, they scored 40 unanswered points. 40 unanswered points.
True.
People talk, about Henry, and that was, smash mouth football.
Yeah, but did Kansas City win that game or did Houston lose that game? That's the real question.
Houston lost that game. You guys were down both games to begin with, so you're really not that good.
Yeah, I was going to say that's kind of my concern with Kansas City is they come out slow. They have this high power offense that seems like they can't even do anything until the second half. And fortunately, they came back on Houston. But I'm gonna be honest with you, by halftime or when it was coming at the end of the first quarter, I was like, "This is a game. This is over." I was about to turn it off because they were getting blown out. I mean,
yeah.
They did come back, but
it was the same way. It was the same way against Tennessee too. So I mean, not in that big of a not like the Houston game, but Tennessee, they came out slow.
Yep.
But it's a good thing that there's 4 quarters, and they have the high-powered offense capable of doing. They've got that buffer. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, but with Bosa coming at Patrick Mahomes and Richard Sherman out there just guarding that entire field back there, I mean, what's Patrick Mahomes really going to do? He can't run the whole game.
Yeah, that's another thing.
I mean, as we've seen the past few seasons, he's literally shredded all defenses. Is there a defense that he hasn't really shredded?
Well, I mean, to that point, though, I mean, he's ran more this season than he ran last season in its entirety, and he's done that.
Yeah, because Kareem Hunt's not there no more.
Yeah, they have the Kansas City.
Yeah, but Damian Williams just as good as a back is Kareem Hunt. And
you're crazy.
Man, I'm telling you, dude.
No way.
Good. Real good.
Listen, I think he is a average running back, but he is not a Kareem Hunt.
He is a perfect complement to that offense. I hated that Kareem Hunt had to leave, but Damian Williams, when he's healthy, once again, he hasn't been healthy all season either. So these guys are healthy now, and they're ready to rock, man.
Well, there's no doubt.
And who does? I was going to ask who Patrick Mahomes has to throw to besides Travis Kelce.
Sammy Watkins, McCole Hardman, DeMarcus Robinson. So that's the funny thing. I want to bring up something. I don't understand why there's so much hate. I can understand with you, man, because you're a Raiders fan. I get that. What I'm saying is, like, all these haters, right? So I hear these things throughout the season that are like, well, Mahomes wouldn't be that great if he didn't have all the talent around him. So that's one argument. And then the next time I hear they ain't shit, Chiefs ain't shit because they don't have enough. They don't have a receiving core. They've got a no-name running back. Which is it? You know, like,
Okay, well,
these dudes going to get the respect that they deserve.
Well, mine is, okay, I'm going to give you mine. This is being a Raider fan. I will give Travis Kelce his credit due as a tight end. Sammy Watkins, he's washed up. I mean, honestly, if he was that good of a wide receiver, he wouldn't have got let go. As we can see, we let go of Amari Cooper. He's really not that good of a wide receiver with another quarterback.
So,
but
Watkins been the X factor in both playoff games.
So I'm going to disagree. I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm on the Kansas City has a lot of weapons bandwagon as far as that goes. Travis Kelce's either one or two as far as best tight ends in the league right now. Tyreek Hill is almost impossible to guard in man coverage, and Sammy Watkins
didn't even bring up Tyreek Hill.
And Sammy Watkins is they're
not even using him.
I don't think he's washed
they
up.
They don't need to.
But I think he's
they can just use him as a decoy.
I think he's a great complement receiver. I think he's the guy, like, when you can't go deep to Tyreek Hill and you can't go over the middle to Travis Kelce, Watkins is still a solid option on the outside to be able to go those out routes or those in routes or those curl routes to give to Mahomes when he's running around in the backfield because his O-line sucks.
Now I feel like you're ganging up on me.
Not at all. Not at all. Not ganging up on you. I promise. So as far as the offense
I'm a Raider
goes,
fan and I'm used to it.
Yeah. So as far, well, you're about to be an Las Vegas Raiders fan, right? So
yeah.
So
how do you feel about that, man? The move to Vegas.
I don't necessarily like it. I mean, trust me, I've been a Raider fan since they were the Oakland Raiders, then the Los Angeles Lakers, then back to Oakland. I think they should have stayed, but I understand the actual. I mean, I understand the logistics of it because they're playing on a crappy field. That field's been there for literally ever.
Yeah.
So it's good that they're getting a new stadium. I just wish they could have found a way to just keep it in Oakland.
Well, not only that, you have Oakland, you have two LA teams now. You have the Chargers, you have the Rams, and then Oakland's right outside of LA. So they had to move. They had to get. And Vegas is a great spot for them, especially with those team colors. I think it's Vegas all day. But no, I'm not teaming up on you. I don't want to gang up on you. Kansas City has a great offense, but that's where it ends, in my opinion. As far as the Kansas City advantages in this game, in the Super Bowl, to me, are this: Andy Reid, as a coach, they have more experience. He's 22-5 when he has an extra week to prepare for somebody. It's a pretty good record. He has a Super Bowl win as an assistant. He has a Super Bowl loss as a head coach, so he has experience, and he's been in the league for over 20 years. Patrick Mahomes, probably the best quarterback in the NFL. And then their weapons on offense.
What?
Yes, absolutely. The dude's super talented. You can't say he's not the best quarterback in the NFL as far as talent goes.
Can you just like take away the bias for a second and just, I think it's time to admit that he's the best quarterback in the league.
You can't. I don't know how you can deny that. Who's better? Who's the better quarterback?
Well, I will say this much.
Don't say
Carr. Quarterback. You guys did be the best quarterback.
What's that?
He's not the best quarterback, but you guys did beat the best quarterback.
Who do you think's the best quarterback?
The best quarterback?
Jackson.
Really? Lamar Jackson?
In my opinion, yes.
My problem with Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson
is he can't throw into tight windows. And that's what happened in the playoff game. The windows got tighter. He got inaccurate. When he's running around and their running game works and he has play action, he's extremely accurate because his windows are huge due to the play action.
I mean, I know you guys really want me to say Derek Carr is the best quarterback. I mean, I know that's what you want.
No, I don't. I absolutely don't. But to think that somebody thinks that Mahomes isn't the most talented quarterback in the league, to me, is just crazy. Like, I like Lamar Jackson. I like what he brings to the table, but as far as accuracy goes, he's just not there yet. And hopefully he gets there, and I'm sure he'll do the work because, if anything, his improvement's been amazing. But Mahomes just came into the league, he took it, on fire, and he's continuing to do it. But as far as Kansas City, that's where they're
advantage. And you know who else did that?
RG3.
Robert Griffin III did that too. Where's he now?
Well, he was undersized.
Okay, so that's a good point that you brought that up. And let me just say, so, like, first of all, I think Lamar Jackson is a great quarterback. But, I was a little disappointed that, that Mahomes didn't get I felt like, look at what he did last year. That was just unbelievable. Like, the numbers that he put up, as opposed to, and I didn't feel like he got the press coverage that Jackson got this year. And that's not a knock on Jackson whatsoever, but, like, Jackson can run, right? And it's like, those dudes, they don't last long in the league because it's a lot like running backs who don't last long in the league. You keep running, you're going to get banged around. So.
True, but the reason Lamar Jackson got all the coverage this year, though, and in that defense is Mahomes he got all the coverage last year. Mahomes put up stupid numbers. He put up Madden numbers last year, and that's why he got the MVP. This year, he took a step back. He didn't put up those same numbers, while Lamar took the league by storm with his running ability and his offensive ability. And to mention, remember, this is a guy that Hall of Famer Bill Polian said should be a wide receiver. Shouldn't even play quarterback in the NFL. So, I mean,
he's legit. He's a beast.
So, that's why he got all the coverage. He wasn't supposed to be good. He wasn't supposed to be there. And here he is tearing up the league. And, he was everybody's the Baltimore was everybody's early Super Bowl pick because of it.
Well, I'm just saying, like, why didn't Mahomes get the coverage last year? Not that he didn't get the coverage this year. You know what I mean?
Well, because Mahomes is trash.
So I'm not gonna go that far. I think Mahomes is super talented, and I think he'd be successful at any team and tear up the league. However, Andy. So the reason I believe that everybody doesn't give Mahomes a ton of credit is because Andy Reid's offense makes quarterbacks look a lot better than they usually are. His offense took Donovan McNabb to a Super Bowl. Think about that.
So that's the other thing that I hear, that if he wasn't in the system with Andy Reid, then Mahomes would be not a great quarterback.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
You could kind of say that. You could kind of say that about a lot of quarterbacks, or maybe all quarterbacks. When you draft a quarterback, the coach is looking at what kind of system he's got, or, like, do we need to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Brady played in the system. Everybody plays in the system. If you're not in the right system, you're not going to flourish.
So I'll disagree with you.
That can be said about any quarterback.
I'll disagree with you on that.
Or you implement your own system.
I was going to say, so Belichick wasn't successful until Brady came into the league. So Brady is that system. Don't get me wrong. Peyton Manning is a complete. He changed the game. Changed the NFL. He was a coach on the field. Unbelievable football brain. I'm not saying Mahomes wouldn't be good anywhere else. Mahomes is an unbelievable talent. All I'm saying is there aren't a whole lot of offenses in the NFL that would give Mahomes the freedom that he has in that offense to create and do all those things. Yeah. And Andy Reid's offense does that. So he's in a great situation. I'm not saying he's not in a good situation. I'm not saying he's not a good quarterback. Like I said, I think talent-wise, he's the most talented quarterback I've ever seen. I love watching him play. I'm just saying being in Andy Reid's system has helped him, which is a good fit, which is good.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm saying.
Andy Reid's one of the great offensive minds,
He is, but his defense has historically sucked.
Definitely. That's a fact, for sure.
So now that
I will say this much, though. If he does win the Super Bowl, he will get that credit.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
If they do win the Super Bowl, I'm not going to give that team the respect of giving them the name. He will get the respect that I think it's that point now that he's got to prove it now. If that makes any sense, It's like, okay, he's done all this, but okay, like last year he went to the AFC Championship game. but they couldn't get it done.
Are you talking about Mahomes or Reed?
I think it's that point now where he's got to get it done.
Are you talking about Andy Reid or Patrick Mahomes?
Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
He's like, I mean, like he's got a lot of football left in him, but I think
he's young. No, well, here's
I'm not disagreeing that he doesn't have a lot of football, but we're talking about the here and now on the coverage that he's getting. I think that once that if he does win the game, the Super Bowl, that that coverage will be there more, and he'll be more widely respected throughout the fans in the NFL.
Absolutely. Yeah. Also, so here's the deal: the knock on Andy Reid too is he can never win the big game. That's always been the knock on him. He's never been able to win the big game.
The knock.
So we'll see. We'll see if he can get over the hump. Is this the year that he can get it done? I don't know. We'll see. But I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna take a break, and then when we get back, we're gonna talk. I'm gonna go into San Francisco and their advantages in this game and why I think they might have a chance to win. We'll be back right after this. Yourself and use. Have you ever thought about starting a podcast? Well, if so, make it easy on yourself and use who I use. That's Buzzsprout. They make it super easy by having tutorials to help you get started, then list your podcast on all the major platforms for you. Just follow the link in the show notes to let Buzzsprout know I sent you. And if you sign up for a paid plan, you'll get a $20 Amazon gift card from Buzzsprout. That's a pretty good deal if you ask me. All right, now let's get back to the show. All right, welcome back. All right, so we've talked about Kansas City and all the advantages that they have in the Super Bowl and how they have an opportunity to win. So what I want to do now is I want to talk about San Francisco now. I want to talk about that monster running game, that unbelievable defense, right? I want to talk about Jimmy G, Kyle Shanahan.
Jimmy G.
So, all right, Jason, what do you got? Why is San Francisco going to win the Super Bowl?
Well, I don't think that it's going to be on their offense. I know the offense is definitely going to have to play a part in it, but that front line that the San Francisco 49ers has is unbelievable, and I think they're going to put an extensive amount of pressure on Patrick Mahomes. And I honestly think that he's going to get stuck in those situations, and it's going to be one of those errant passes that Richard Sherman just takes to the house. That's just I think that defensive pressure is just going to be too much for him to handle.
So, Patrick Mahomes hasn't thrown an interception in the playoffs this year yet.
I realize that.
That's crazy to me.
And I mean, I'm not taking anything away from that, but he hasn't seen Richard Sherman or this defensive line coming at him either.
No, and the
well, I will admit.
Go ahead.
What's ironic though is that so I picked up San Fran D in my fantasy football league this year.
Oh, nice!
And I was like, stoked, you know what I mean? So yeah, I know what San Fran D can do because they helped me out tremendously. In fact, that was the only people that could score points on my fantasy team. So,
hey, so totally off subject, and I know this is going to be bad/good. Last year, when we lost Khalil Mack, that's the first thing I did in my fantasy draft was I picked up the Chicago Bears defense.
Dude, fantasy. I tell people all the time, going into fantasy football, I do fairly well in fantasy football, and the reason is I leave my fandom at the door. I can be a fan of whoever I want, but when it comes to fantasy football, when it comes to putting my money in that pot or those bragging rights, I don't care. I don't care if I hate somebody. I'm gonna pick them up if they're good.
Yeah.
Well, this is my first year doing it, and naturally, I picked like my first 4 picks were all Chiefs, and I learned pretty quick that I couldn't sustain that, and I ended up like with a roster of like. I had Lindsey from Denver, and I had Josh Gordon from Oakland.
Yeah.
And then not Josh Gordon. What's his name?
Jacob.
Jacob. Yeah. I got Jacob, and he did good for me too. So.
Yeah.
Rookie of the year.
Well, how?
Yeah, man, he's a beast, dude.
how ironic that the San Francisco defense was the bright spot in your fantasy team, and now your team has to face them in the Super Bowl.
Oh man,
How's that make
live by
you
the
feel?
sword, die by the sword. Yeah,
Right. So I have an interesting stat for you. So San Francisco. So let me see here. So the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the last 6 defenses that played in the Super Bowl that had 55 sacks or more entering the Super Bowl have won the Super Bowl. That's the 05 Steelers, the 07 Giants, the 08 Steelers, the 2010 Packers, 2011 Giants, the 2015 Broncos, and now this weekend, the 49ers are going to join that group. Now, I don't know if they're going to win or lose, but that's pretty crazy stat, because if San Francisco's D, they only have to rush 4 to get pressure on Mahomes.
And you can't score points if you're getting sacked.
Hey man, I'm not gonna lie. Defense. Everybody knows defense wins championships, right?
Yeah.
I just, and that's what we were talking about. We got the old school smash mouth football, and like a really great defense versus the new school type of offense with a better defense than what they're getting credit for.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a great game.
I think one of two things.
I will say that much. It's going to be a good football game.
So it's either going to be in my opinion, it's either going to be a great game or it's going to be a blowout. And here's why. Give me my take on the whole thing. So if San Francisco is able to run the ball effectively and keep their defense off the field and keep them fresh, and and then Patrick Mahomes comes out and scores points, but the San Francisco D can get 1 or 2 stops. The Kansas City defense is going to be trash in the fourth quarter because they're going to be freaking tired as hell. They're going to be on the field the whole time. And San Francisco's D is going to be absolutely fresh the entire game. And I think that's going to play. If it's close in the fourth quarter, I think that's going to come into play.
Well, they said that too about when we played against Kansas City played against Tennessee, that Henry was going to just wear down the defense, and like that dude was held to double digits in rushing.
Yeah, okay.
1 touchdown.
Let me address that real fast. First of all, Tennessee wasn't supposed to be there. Okay, the hype machine jumped on that team the minute they took down Baltimore, which is the exact same offense. They had Ryan freaking Tannehill running quarterback. Get out of here with that. That is.
And you got to give the dude credit, dude.
No.
He just shut up and was a manager.
I don't care. Listen, if you have any team you have where the running back runs for 200 yards, you're going to win that game. I don't care who you're playing. I don't care what running back it is. I don't care what team it is. That team is winning. So the Baltimore defense gave up that much to Henry, which, listen, Henry's a beast, and he's a load to take down. And I'm telling you right now, if I was in that secondary, I would try not to be in his way.
Not even a little bit.
More than once.
He's a bad mamma jamma, man.
Yeah.
That dude's a bad mamma jamma. And it's like they had like 2 plays. Like, give the ball to Henry or play action.
Yes, but that works because your window that makes Tannehill.
Great that we're giving it to Henry.
Tannehill looks like an all-star because he's thrown into big windows because of the play action. But
right.
I'm not buying the Tennessee thing. I think if Baltimore would have came in and didn't take Tennessee so lightly, I don't know that Kansas City's here right now.
Yeah.
I think the Baltimore Kansas City game, I think that would have been that would have been a much better game. And I think it would have been up in the air. We might be talking about Baltimore and San Francisco and not Kansas City and San Francisco, but that's my take on it.
That's where everybody was going to go anyway.
Well,
it would have been a great game.
We'll see. I'm going to give my pick later, but here's another thing too. So the knock on the San Francisco all year has been Jimmy Garoppolo. They've been calling him a game manager. He can't he can't carry them. Well, I mean, the stats show otherwise. Jimmy is the type of guy who literally does what you ask him to do. If you ask him to, I'm going to have to mute you guys, a lot of background noise. If you ask him to hand the ball off and win games, he's going to do it. If you ask him to throw the ball, he can do that too. For instance, when they beat, you guys are back in the air, when they beat New Orleans this year, he threw for like 380 and 4 touchdowns. So when you put it on Jimmy's hand on his shoulder and say, hey, take us to the promised land, he's been able to step up. What do you think?
I mean, look who he was. I mean, he was a protege to somebody else that, I mean, as much as I don't like the guy, I mean, he's the best quarterback to ever play the game in most people's opinion. I mean, so he learned from one of the best.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's amazing. Brady's my favorite. I'm a huge Brady fan. I'm a Michigan guy. He came from Michigan. What can I say? I'm on that bandwagon. Not a huge Patriots fan, but Tom Brady, I'm all about that. I'm all about some TB12. So what do you think? What do you think, Jack? You think they're going to be able to keep that running game at bay?
I think we lost Jack.
Hello? Did we lose Jack?
I think we lost Jack.
Oh, man.
Hello?
Oh, there you are. Well, we thought we lost you. What's up?
Oh, okay. What were you saying?
I was saying, do you think that the Kansas City defense is going to be able to keep that running game of San Francisco's at bay?
Well, I mean, as you said, there was questions leading up to the Tennessee game with Henry. I don't see why they can't stop this. Really, I think mediocre at best running game. And you can change my mind. We can go look at statistics. They've had a couple monster games the past 2 games, but through the season, their running game is not that great.
Did you just say that San Francisco's running game is mediocre?
Yeah, not that great.
So are they not drug testing you where you work anymore? Or they just let you smoke? They let you smoke crack. It's just okay now, no matter what. Like, what are you talking about? There's a number 2, I believe, running game in the NFL behind Baltimore and Lamar Jackson, and their quarterback doesn't run.
And I mean, throughout the league, I mean, they were in the bottom 10 of rush yards allowed. Yeah,
their defense is amazing. Their running game keeps their defense off the field to keep them fresh. And Jimmy Garoppolo, when they've called on him, like I said, to carry that team, he's carried that team, throwing for 3, 4. I think one game he had over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, that guy, everybody talks about that guy only throwing 10 passes last game, but if that's all you have to do as a quarterback, that's a win.
And is it because they have the most or second most rushing yards in the league because they have the attempt and the defense is carrying them? Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, no.
I don't think their running game is as good as what the numbers say.
I think their defense does put them back on the field, but because they've had success in the running game, it's allowed their defense to rest and stay good throughout the game, which carries them in the fourth quarter. That's my opinion on it.
I mean, and let's be honest.
The way I've looked at San Francisco this season is that their defense alone has carried them to where they're at. And I didn't think they were going to get past the first round.
Wow.
But, here they are.
Wow. I mean, they're kind of a Cinderella story.
And that being said, that's how much I think of their defense. I think their defense is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. Jason, you had something to say? Hold on.
Yeah, and your defense is trash. I mean,
look,
I don't get me wrong. I'm sitting in front of a computer now. I didn't just have these stats off the top of my head. So, I mean, the Niners are ranked 4th in offense, 2nd in defense, 13th in passing, and 2nd in rushing. Where the Chiefs are 6th in offense, 17th in defense, 5th in passing and 23rd in rushing.
We got everybody healthy now, man. It's all good.
Oh,
no, give me a break. Don't give me that shit.
We're talking about. Are you really everybody? That's always
Look,
funny
hey.
argument to me that we're healthy. Like the other teams haven't had to deal with attrition issues. Like that's the NFL.
All I'm saying is, look, the Chiefs last year defense was just pitiful. It was like disgusting. Like
Yes.
I don't think that a 3A high school football team. I think a 3A high school football team could have scored on Chiefs defense last year. This year, though, they can't. You know, they're not the best, but they are solid enough, and I think they're pissed off that they're not getting the credit they deserve. And I think it's going to show in the Super Bowl.
So
They're going to get to Garoppolo.
So I'll give you this: they are exponentially better than they were last year. However,
You got Chris Jones, you got Pinnell, who's been like crazy in the playoffs, and then you have what's his name, picked up off waiver. He's also got a Super Bowl.
well,
So I mean, don't discount this. Don't. Oh, and Frank Clark, you know, who was not doing good. It was like starting to look like a bust. But he started to come on towards the end of the season. And I think everybody's firing on all cylinders. And I think they're going to show the world that their defense is a lot better than what they are getting credit for.
So I'm going to go ahead and say this. Yes, their defense is exponentially better, but that makes them average at best now. Like they went from a dumpster fire to just a trash can fire. Like I get that they're still garbage. Like,
Boom.
I mean, I'll argue for their offense all day. I'll argue for Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tariq Hill, Sammy Watkins, that offensive scheme. I'll argue for that all day. But that defense, I mean, you added the Honey Badger, which, hey, that's a good pickup in my opinion. I've loved that dude's game since college, since LSU. But he can't. I mean, he's a game changer if he can get his hands on the ball. But Garoppolo's going to have to make a mistake. And I just don't see Garoppolo taking a lot of chances that he doesn't have to take because he's a smart dude.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know, I guess we'll see you on Sunday, huh?
Well, that's right.
And just let you know, I know this doesn't mean anything. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs did play the 49ers in the preseason, and they lost.
Uh-oh. We're bringing up preseason stats now?
Yeah.
Wow. We went
I
deep.
said I know it doesn't matter.
Come on, man.
No,
Come
you're
on,
good.
man.
I like it. Hey, preseason matters to some people. Somebody, you know what? The funny thing, Jason, is somebody out there is going to listen to this, and they're going to pick based on what you just said.
And well, you just said that some people rely on preseason. Yes, that would be an Oakland Raiders fan, you know, because we do really good in the preseason.
So I'm gonna full disclaimer. I'm a Detroit Lions fan, and we went undefeated in the preseason one year, and we lost. We went 0-16 that year.
Hey, that's a pretty good stats right there.
We went 4-0 in the preseason and 0-16 in the regular season. So, yeah, that makes me cry every time I think about it, actually. But, all right.
Well, I'm looking forward to Sunday either way, you know. So it's going to be a good game. You know, I know that Kansas City, as of earlier today, was favored by, 1.5? Somebody made some crazy-ass bet. And put it up to 1.5.
Well,
but, you know, I feel like, you know, we're the underdog. But,
so,
yeah, we'll see you on Sunday, man.
So here's the thing about Vegas. So that line's going to move. So what they do is Vegas puts out their line. If you don't know, I'm unfortunately a degenerate gambler. So Vegas puts out their line. All the amateurs go out there and they bet the shit out of the line. And then right before the game, the line moves because all the professional gamblers start betting, and it moves the line usually in the opposite direction. So I don't take much the line right now on the game. I don't take much stock in that. Wait until Saturday night, Sunday morning, before and look at the line then and see how far it's moved to the left or the right, and see if you're going to go off.
Yeah.
Of that.
That's true. That's very true.
But all right,
About that.
Jack, Jason, I want to say thank you both for coming on the show. It's been great. It's been fun. I really appreciate it. And maybe I'll bring you guys back for the post Super Bowl show, and we can talk about what happened. How's that sound?
There we go. Hey,
that works.
I'd like to say two more things before we take off.
Go ahead.
So, number one, so D Ford last year, I don't know if you guys remember AFC Championship, was he lined up offside.
Yep.
And that ultimately cost the Chiefs the AFC Championship game. Literally cost them the AFC Championship game by him.
That or you're playing Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So this year, my hot take is that D Ford is going to line up offside because he's playing for the Niners, and it's going to ultimately cause us to win.
You think history's going to repeat itself in the Super Bowl with D Ford?
Hot take.
That's your hot take.
That's my hot take, man.
All right.
Yeah,
Jason, you got any hot takes?
And then, well, I got one more thing.
Okay, what you got?
Raiders suck. Raiders suck.
These Kansas City rivalries going to get out of hand. So, Jason, you got any hot takes?
Yeah, Kansas City queef.
All right, guys. Hey, listen, thanks again. All right. And we'll talk about trying to get you guys back on. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Good talking to you guys.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Good talking to you guys.
All right, bye. All right, after the break, I'm going to give you my Super Bowl prediction next.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is only made possible by you, the listener. So thank you for your support. Now back to the show.
All right. Welcome back. So it's been an interesting conversation. I absolutely enjoyed that. I hope you do too. You did too. Those guys were great. Much better than better than I could have ever hoped. But right now I want to talk to you guys about my Super Bowl prediction. I got theirs. I know who they're going for. And I've been thinking about this and debating about this. And so I'm just going to recap what I think about everything, and then I'll give you my prediction about who I think is going to win. So like we talked about before, I think Kansas City has the advantage, and the coach and Andy Reid and his experience over Kyle Shanahan. I think Kyle Shanahan's a great coach. But I think last year shows us that when you talk about the Super Bowl last year where you had Bill Belichick and Sean McVay, McVay was brilliant. However, the experience of Bill Belichick just overwhelmed him, and McVay overprepared. Excuse me. So I think Andy Reid has the advantage when we're talking about coaching. When it comes to quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo has been underrated this entire season. Everybody just calls him a game manager. I'm telling you, this dude is care. If you look at the New Orleans game, if you look at 3 games after that, the dude threw for over 300 yards, 3 or 4 touchdowns a game. He is absolutely every bit worth everything he's getting paid. They went 4-16 without him last year, 4-12 last year without him, and they're in the Super Bowl this year. If that doesn't tell you that this guy's a winner and he's ready to win the Super Bowl, I don't know what it is. Bill Belichick had faith in him, and wanted to keep him over Tom Brady at the end of his career. Ultimately lost that battle. That alone gives me faith in Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay. But Kansas City, then I'm going to go ahead and say this. Mahomes is still the best quarterback in the NFL. Talent, period. So they're going to get the nod on the quarterback as well. When you talk about offensive weapons, they got Kelsey, they got Hill, they got Watkins. Those dudes can tear up a defense. So again, I think weapons-wise, I think they take the cake. I think offensively, I think Kansas City is just racked and stacked and could absolutely win this game in a blowout if San Francisco's not careful. However, defense wins championships. The advantage of San Francisco is that rock-solid defense. They can rush you with 4 passers. They'll even be able to spy Mahomes and still put a bunch of people into coverage. If they go to a dime or a nickel, they can still put they can go to a zone, cover 2 zone. They can still put people in coverage and still stop the pass. Mahomes, listen, he can. I would take him running 4 and 5 yards a carry if that's all he's doing. He's going to wear out by the fourth quarter. The running game. San Francisco has the advantage of the running game. If they can run the ball, bleed the clock, most importantly, keep Mahomes off the field, put points up when they have an opportunity, and keep their defense off the field as much as possible and keep them fresh. Come the fourth quarter, it's a no-brainer. San Francisco will win that game. Now, if it turns into a track meet, Kansas City wins it all day. However, my pick for the whole thing is going to be San Francisco. I just think defense wins championships. I think defense is going to overwhelm Kansas City's front line. I think they're going to get 3 and 4 sacks on Mahomes. Mahomes has carried that team through the playoffs on his legs. I don't see him doing that in the Super Bowl. I just don't think it's his time. And to be completely honest with you, if he doesn't win, Kansas City won't be back for a long time. And I know Kansas City fans don't want to hear that, but that's real because now you're going to have to pay Patrick Mahomes. And that contract, they're talking about $200 million. That cap hit is going to be huge. I talked about in my last show how being over 13% of the salary cap on your quarterback salary will ruin a franchise. It will cut the legs off money because Tyreek Hill is going to want to get paid. Travis Kelce's going to want to get paid. All these dudes are going to want to get paid, and the money's not going to be there because you got to pay Mahomes so much money. Not that he's not worth it, but now you're going to have to rely on him even more, and you're going to have to get rid of some of those weapons. I just don't see Kansas City coming back. If they don't win this year, they're not coming back. And I'm being honest with you, I just don't think they're going to do it. I think San Francisco takes it. I think Jimmy Garoppolo manages the game and takes his shots when he needs to, and he's going to make them. So that's my pick. San Francisco. That's it. That's what I'm going with. So hopefully on the post show, I don't get crucified. But, all right, next up, I have my plug of the week, and then we're going to come up with my rant of the week. Coming up next. If you're tired of paying the high cost of cable, I have a solution for you. You need to give Vault Entertainment a try. For just a small monthly fee of just $12, you get over 3,000 channels. You can catch every sporting event on any sports network to include all pay-per-view events, all included at no extra cost and with no contract. So go to www.vault-entertainment.com. That's www.vault-entertainment.com and sign up today. All right. Hey, Vault Entertainment, they got your back, like I said before. Okay, now we're going to get into my rant of the week. And I want to talk to you guys about something, okay? I'm a father of daughters. I have 3 daughters and 2 sons. I have 5 freaking kids, okay? I have the oldest daughter is 18. I got 2 younger daughters in the 11 and 9, okay? So I want you to imagine this. If you're a father of daughters or just a father, period, this scenario has played out. What I'm going to give you is this scenario has played out too many times here lately, and it's gotten to the point where it's pissed me off, and it's sports related, okay? Girl sports related. So I want you to imagine watching your daughter give 100% training, preparing, becoming an athlete, trying her best for months and years, and let's say track, right? She's a track star. And she's killing it, and she's doing everything she can to be better and to train and to watch her nutrition and doing all those things. You know all the hard work she puts into it, right? Her senior year, she goes to the state tournament. There she is. She lines up at the line. You're so proud. You're sitting there. You're watching her, and a fucking dude lines up next to her. All because he says, I'm a girl. What the fuck? What is going on in this world that's possible? Now, let's say your daughter freaking loses because, well, I don't know, genetically, men are bigger, faster, and stronger. He wipes the dirt with her. It destroys her confidence. Or maybe there's a college scout in the audience. Maybe she doesn't do very well. Maybe that just ruins everything. As a parent, I'd be fucking pissed. And I'm tired of people saying it's okay blah, 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 blah. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Boy, man, this is a psychological disorder. And you're taking advantage of it. There's a guy in Europe who lined up to be a power lifter and said he was a girl, broke all their records, and then went back and was like, oh, I'm not a girl anymore. I'm a dude. And we're allowing this shit to happen as a society. Are you freaking kidding me? This isn't about sensitivity. This is about freaking men pissing in the women's fucking in the women's bathroom. I'll be damned. I don't care. I'm so sick and tired of men saying they're women. It's impossible for a man to be a woman. A man cannot give birth. I don't care what you identify with. If you have a wiener, you're a dude. Period. You produce more testosterone than a girl ever will, which will make your muscles bigger, it'll make you run faster, and you got to work, and it's unbelievable. And I'll get a lot of pushback from this, and I just don't care. And what concerns me is, where's all these women standing up for themselves? We talk about women's rights and we talk about equality and we talk about all these things. We had a man dressed as a woman win freaking Woman of the Year. Are you kidding me? If that doesn't outrage women, I don't know what will. But my take on the whole thing is this. If you are a man and you want to compete in women's athletics, I'm okay with it. As long as you cut your fucking wiener off. Hey, as long as the twig and berries go, you can be a woman. Because guess what? You are a woman now, in my opinion. Cut them off. I want to see you're dedicated. If you do that, you convince me that you can compete in that sport. Because guess what? Your testosterone level is going to go down drastically. Until then, as long as you have a penis, you're a man. Period. All right. Thanks for listening. I'm out.
The show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is only made possible by you, the listener. So thank you for your support.